Imagine walking around and find free samples of food everywhere in sight. However, after taking a bite, realizing that it doesn't smell, taste, or feel like a genuine article, I believe we would all be upset to find out that this food isn't actually consumable and has toxic components to it. Though, through extensive research on ocean pollution, and because I am a factor in the equation, I'm here to take up the responsibility of realizing the issues transpiring. By the end of my speech, everyone will have a better understanding of how the ocean and various organisms are affected by plastic pollution. I will elaborate on the production and movements of plastic, where plastic collects in the ocean, and how organisms are affected by plastics. Over the years, there has been an increase in the amount of plastic produced around the world. With the United States being a superpower with super potential, it continues to produce plastics at alarming rates. According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, in 2015, plastics generation was 34.5 million tons, which is upwards of 88 times what was produced in 1960. Every year, we break the record with producing higher amounts of plastic globally. With continued production of plastics, it seems like there's no end to the amount of plastics inevitably falling back into the ocean. The overwhelming amount of plastic that moves through the world has become more of an issue through transport. According to the Center of Public Integrity, since the early 1990s, roughly half of the world's plastic scraps have been shipped to China. However, after new regulations, they have banned the scraps of other countries. Without a place to put the excess, many countries have turned to dumping the plastic scraps in Malaysia or other parts of Asia, which leads to overflow of materials and neglect of containment. Now that we've talked about plastic production and movement, let's delve deeper into the migration of plastics throughout the ocean. The majority of plastic waste is hidden in far-out waters being pulled out by strong currents. Around the world, there are 5 gyres that create whirlpool currents that collect the garbage in the middle of the ocean between land masses. The oceans are vast and filled with sea life, but by the turn of the century, it's likely that there will be more plastic and trash by weight than there are fish. One of the gyres that has been the most affected is the Pacific Gyre, located between here and Hawaii. In this video, I'll show you evidence of how plastic is in the ocean. With such a high potential for the amount of plastic sinking, it is extremely difficult to tell how much plastic is really in the ocean. As stated by new scientists, at least 79,000 tons are floating in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, up to 16 times as much as estimated in 2014. Every year, more plastic is released into the ocean. It is said that the amount of plastic emptied into the ocean matches 1 garbage truck dump every minute of every day. That means by the end of this speech, at least 5 more garbage trucks of plastic have been poured into the beautiful sea. One thing that makes the sea so beautiful is its vastness, but with the amounts of plastic entering the waters, it's just like we're creating a bridge between lands. We discussed where plastic is collecting. Let's next look at what happens to plastics that sit in the ocean and what creatures are exposed to the waste. The production of micropollutants and how sea life is getting a taste of plastic in their diet. Microplastics, or MPs, are categorized as pieces of plastic that are smaller than 5 millimeters in diameter. As stated by Science Direct, the primary MPs are deliberately manufactured for different applications: microbeads in professional care products, resin pellets and plastic products, fibers and clothing. Secondary MPs are derived from fragmentation, degradation of larger plastic debris through weathering forces, including photooxidation, biodegradation, mechanical abrasion, wind and wave actions, etc. However, these particles can get even smaller, becoming nanoparticles, which we would not be able to see with our naked eye. Since the particles are so small, they're constantly ingested by the sea life, but cannot be digested. The smaller organisms absorb more of the particles, and then the higher animals of higher trophic levels eat them, passing on the microplastics. In this way, plastic has become a part of the food chain and continues to move up with every consumption. The sea organisms build up more of the plastic progressively throughout their lives and absorbing the toxins that aren't meant for consumption. Sooner or later, after being exposed to incredible amounts of plastic waste, they wind up as food for humans, where we can absorb the plastic components as well. Lastly, there's a lot of issues transpiring in the world, but plastic pollution in the ocean is something that the world needs to address. Today we went over plastic production and movement, where much of the plastic pollution is collecting in the oceans and organisms that are affected. Now you are better informed about the ocean and various organisms being affected by plastic pollution. To conclude, consistent pollution destroys the ecosystems of the ocean and will follow us back to the mainland, with pollution washing ashore and knocking at our door.